till you end up all this way. Please tell me when you left me bleeding, with a broken heart, tell me why I deserve this feeling. I thought that you loved me, I thought that you need me, till you end up all this way. Have you forgot all the moments while we had was so true? This one was made for two. Feelings change and love can go, but tell me why are you so cold? What did I wrong? What was the fault? Or what you say is I don't know. Feelings change and love can go, but tell me why are you so cold? What did I wrong? What was the fault? I thought that you loved me, I thought that you need me, till you end up all this way. Have you forgot all the moments while we had was so true? This world was made for two. I think it's dawned on me that you ain't coming back. I've lost my chance to see us find our way back. And in the end, amidst these trying times, I'll always try to find you. I'll lie to you to find the truth that you hold back. So stay with me, you know that I'll follow. I can't breathe, together we'll fall apart. Stay here right in my arms, and we'll start again. So stay talk to me. And it's so funny, you're all I wanted. And I can't talk, want you out of my life, so say none. I'll wait for days if you ain't one. I'll say none. So stay with me. You know that I'll follow. I can't breathe. Together we'll fall apart. Stay here right in my arms, and we'll start again. So stay with me. Together we'll fall apart. Together we'll fall apart. Together we'll fall apart. Stay here right in my arms, and we'll start again. So stay with me. Together we'll fall apart. It got me thinking now, should I take it or leave it out? It got me thinking now, and now I'm stuck in this loop again. It got me thinking now, should I take it or leave it out? What would happen if I talk to you? Got a feeling that I get a clue. Would you be my Fortnite? Would you be my Fortnite? I'm the storm that meets the moon. I'm the sun that will not move. Who you think you are? Who you think you
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to day 2 of the RSC16 draft. You made it through day 1. All 20 franchises picked their first 4 or 5 or even 6 players across the 6 respective tiers, and we're here to assign every other player that wasn't picked in day 1 is going to get a franchise today in day 2. And joining me, first of all, for help me do the master tier, it's Hodge. Hodge, welcome back to the stream.
Yeah, pleasure to be back, and this time they've brought someone who knows a lot about Master and someone who knows absolutely nothing about Master. So we'll get through the draft and see who's going to be picked up and who is going to be picked up later on. Everyone will be picked up today. That is the great part about day 2 of draft. No one's getting left behind. Everyone's going to get picked up and get the chance to play in pre-season. But once again, just like yesterday, Kingsman, we're starting at the top with Master and working our way down to Academy at the end of the day.
Yeah, so if you're in Academy, please do take your time and wait. You are right at the end. But as you can see on screen, the prize pool, as listed, the 860 prize pool. Thank you again to all our sponsors, Badass Studios, SpartanWare, LTXAcademy, and obviously, if you do buy anything in the Epic Games Store, feel free to use the creator code RSC-eu when we thank you as we get a small kickback. But Hodge, enough talking at the start. Shall we get straight into day 2 of draft here, starting in the master tier? We ended the master draft yesterday with Azteca having them keep a pick of Matrix, which will appear on the screen. Obviously, Matrix has been around master. I believe this is his 2nd season. Spoke about him yesterday, but it's KDJ who are going to kick us off in master for the first pick of day 2, and they are going to pick Nissaron, who is a high CMV player, so likely competition for Surf in preseason.
Yeah, good competition there already at the top of the picks of the day. KDJ picking up Nizaron, 21 and 50, good pickup for them. Moving on swiftly though, it is Nate, and they've gone for their keeper pick of D Lynch.
Yeah, the GM, been around in Master a while, always low CMV, but he is the one to appear in round 5 as a keeper, adding to the low CMVs of Jaffa and Crisp. They already picked up in day 1. Moving on to System of Solaris, who go for their second lowest of the day. They had 3 2Ks, and it's Fused, who looks to give a spark to the System of Solaris roster.
Yeah, joining up alongside a good sort of roster of players there already as well. And a lovely pickup there for 1905. Moving on, though, to Brave, it is going to be Levy. And for 1960, joining up alongside some good players as well there, Kingsman.
Yeah, played with NC at the start of last season. A Brave esports roster that NC wasn't happy with results wise, but they've picked him up for a second season. See if he's improved forward wise. Next pickup is Team Berserkers. They made their build yesterday and they pick Faisha 2 as their 1935 pick. Maybe they're hoping Faisha 1 will appear at some point in the draft as well. But no, nice pickup for Berserkers. We move on to Dexterity. Their backwards draft, and they now pick up WHZR at 1910.
Yeah, the Dexterity backward draft has been a bit of an interesting one to watch, and 1910 Wazar there going to be a lovely pickup as well. Already some wonderful picks for Dexterity, and just going to add to that.
Yeah, next up is Sanctuary, and they pick Juice at 1990. Someone who I teamed with ages and ages ago in the Elite tier. Someone who's been playing RSC a bit inconsistently, but it's still a very nice pickup for Sanctuary in round 5 at 1990. And Death Cloud will be picking up Bites at 1915.
Yeah, Death Cloud, the org that I'm also now on, have got a pretty good roster already cooking there in the Master Division, especially when you look towards some of those higher players, and he's going to slot in very well with those players. But now moving on to KDJ, it is Bawad? You'll probably know the pronunciation better than me there, but yeah.
Yeah, Sinbawad 1980, giving themselves more competition in those mid-roster spots. Those are the sort of things that they need to be looking for. And it's a player that used to be in on Forge and dominated a long time ago. It's Usyk at 1905. A low CMV, they picked up 3 2Ks in day 1. And along with Kairu, they need someone to balance out the books.
They absolutely do. And Aspire now making their 5th round pick here. It is going to be Lankai who goes over to Aspire, and for 1905, good pickup there. A lot of these sort of, mid picks starting to come through here in the Master Division. Got to keep them coming. And speaking of keeping them coming, we're moving on to the next pick with Forge picking up Ocean.
Yeah, it's Ocean at 1895. They picked up Bertram at 1880 yesterday, and it's Ocean at 1895. Obviously, their first 3 picks all above 2K, so they need someone that low CMV, and Ocean is going to look to stay. And now we get our first 2K pick of day 2, and it's Maj 10, the highest CMV so far drafted by DSQ.
Yeah, the highest CMV drafted by DSQ there. Likely going to be in a bit of a competition at the top with a couple of the other higher ones there. But it is going to be over towards Momentum. And it is going to be Sebastian I'm going to go with there. Sebastian Rosa going over to Momentum for 1885.
Yeah, another low CMV player. And it's low CMV they haven't got yet. Moving on next, it's 20R who pick up Storm. I believe that was Storm 9. But he joins 2M, Trask, Panda, and Axel. He'll probably be more competing with 2M for that main roster, that number 1 roster spot. But people saying how Maj 10 was available so late, I am completely with you. And it's another big pick, another big player, been around a while, and it's been brilliant for his CMV. It is Bossy Lassie.
Yeah, like you say, big pickup there over towards DSQ to fill up on an already amazing lineup. But now over onto Unitox, it is hang on, I'm just going to check the sheet to make sure I don't butcher this. Zerind is I'm going to go with there.
Yeah, I'm happy at the minute. You are getting all the difficult names,
Oh,
and it's Zerent who joins at a low CMV for Unitox. Next is Alpha Surge for their second pick, and it is Skaze at 2005. Another one sort of competing with Cal and Nuclear for that spot alongside what is going to be, I imagine, Tai and Kairu. But Skaze took a breakout last season, but is back and looks very ready to take on the competition.
yeah, moving on to Team Serene. Their next pick is going to be Simple Romance Fan, going over to join an already pretty good sort of list of players that are cooking there. And, well, we're going to be swiftly moving on to Owls for there. They've got 2 picks in a row here. And, well, Josh is going to be the first. I guess it's the last pick of round 5, technically. But Josh going to be the first pick of their 2, and it is going to be a 2K pick.
Yeah, exactly the same as Natsali Josh, someone who I GM'd a while ago in the Elite tier. Haven't seen much of him since then, but at 2K, I'm sure he will give Natsali brilliant competition on Owls Esports for that roster. A good player on his day, I know that for sure, and that was when he was Elite. So we will now move on to round 6 as round 5 summary is on the screen. As you can see, I don't think there's any picks at this point that will surprise anyone, apart from maybe Madge. Obviously, that's the one that's been mentioned in chat as everyone's saying, wow, how's he gone so long? I completely agree, but clearly not in any GM's plans here, Hodge.
No, clearly not, and I guess for teams like DSQ, that just makes it a steal later on, I guess, in a sense like that. But we'll see how he fares in the preseason for DSQ. But moving on to round number 6, we are going to get our last pick of round 5 there, just a bit of a recap. But moving on, it is another Owls pick on the board, and it is Mr. Squirm for 1920.
Yeah, 1920, someone who you would see around with Frank a lot if you follow the Three Dudens adventure. He comes in at pick 101. He'll give Llama some challenge on the Owls Esports roster. And it's System of Solaris next to pick up, and it's Aaron DSP at 2100. Another 2100 going so late here, Hodge.
Yeah, a lot of these higher players seem to be sort of fading away into this draft pretty late on. But Systema Solaris, they're going to pick him up. They seem confident. Moving on to Shadow Esports, though, it is going to be Trooper69 for 1905 going over to Shadow.
Yeah, 1905. It's their second lowest player alongside Heinz Ketchup at 1895. So potentially some more availability at the bottom of this. And next is Unitox, who pick up a 1955 near towards the bottom of UV.
Yep, UV, like you say, near towards the bottom of those CMVs. Going to be their second lowest player, but you do need, picks from every sort of range of CMV, and he's going to fill that slot perfectly.
Yeah, and is Minty going to fit into this DSQ roster? He is the next person to be picked up by DSQ for this master roster in their staggering amount of picks. I believe they're on 7 now, as Minty is the 7th person to join this roster. And next for 20R is Zobus at 2095. Maybe 20R not fully confident here in their high pick, so they want to secure some other options.
Always good to have those options, for when you get to that preseason, got to make a decision, see how people play, and that's exactly what they're going to do. But moving on to momentum, it is going to be Century for 2040, another high pick, Kingsman.
Yeah, another high pick. They've all got to go, and if they haven't been picked before, giving yourself some options up the board is very good, especially for Momentum, who want a balanced roster. It seems no one above 2100. But speaking of above 2100, it's Explo.11 for Team Berserkers at 2100. Only their second player in the 2K region, so clearly happy with their variety of picks in 1900 and want to sort of test their 2100 variety.
Yeah, moving on to Forg, it is going to be Aiden for 1915, another one of these mid sort of value picks, and well, it's going to slot in perfectly there alongside a couple of others already.
Yeah, he will slot in alongside. Next is Aspire, who have their keeper pick of Reptic. He already joined up alongside Rukia and Epix last season to make a brilliant run in the Master Playoffs, which guided them to a 4th place finish. They'll be looking to run that back in the draft season and see how they can build on that.
Sistema Solaris going to be next up with their pick. It is going to be Cosmo for 1955, slotting right in to that team for their round 6 pick 11, and it is going to be a wonderful pickup there.
Yeah, a nice pickup for them as KDJ coming with their keeper pick, someone who hasn't been around the scene for a while, but the OGs will know them. It is Larson at 1895. That's why they haven't gone for a low pick yet. They knew they had Larson in that keeper pick slot. Then that will be their low player filled in. And Death Cloud, they come in with a keeper as well of Trout.
Yeah, Trout, sometimes love the guy, sometimes hate the guy. Depends if you sell him at ELO in Valorant or not. But anyway, he's going to be the keeper pick there for DCE 1880 going over towards his team. And now we move on to Sanctuary.
Yeah, who pick up Sound, someone who I saw a lot at tryouts, someone with a good amount of potential. And at 1970, he'll certainly give Haz and Juice a run on that roster. 2 very good high 1900 players here, and Dexterity joined back up, and it is Twisley at 2100, their 3rd pick at 2100 plus. So there's going to be a lot, and I mean a lot, of competition for that high roster spot.
Very much the case. Alpha Surge, who've they gone for, is the next question. It's going to be Kizzy there for 2010 Kingsman. And another one of these sort of mid to high range picks coming through. Good competition once again here. And, well, there's competition across the board when you start to get into these later rounds.
Yeah, there is absolutely people who haven't been seen by teams but could perform. And next up is Blizzy at 1945. Another pick around that mid-1900 range for Brave. Clearly, they need to secure a potential sub or 3rd on that roster, and they don't know who that's going to be, so they're giving themselves a good range. And next up is Team Serene, who come back in with Kyron as a keeper at 1890.
Yeah, Kyron had a really good season in the Elite Division last season, moving up to Master as Team Serene's AGM. Going to be their keeper pick for 1890, and a solid one at that. But now moving on to Nate, it is going to be another keeper pick coming through, and this time it's No One's Nova for 1890 as well.
Well, no one knows Nova. I'm sure he'll get known potentially this season if he puts in a good performance as Neat. And next is Azteca with their only 5th pick of the draft, and it is Charlie. I'm not going to say that as Farley, but it's Charlie at 1930, and that will end out round 6 picks with only Azteca's 5th pick of the entire Master draft.
It will absolutely. Azteca stacking a lot of their picks here towards the second sort of side of the draft, but if that's what you've got to do to get first pick, then so be it. But here we are. It is going to be our summary of round number 6, and well, we have a little bit of a recap of all the different players that were drafted. Anything that really stands out to you, Kingsman, as a sort of all-knower of the Master tier?
I'd love to say I was an all-knower. I'm not all-knowing as such, but yeah, this is the round where you see a lot of the low keeper picks. Obviously, Reptic, Larson, Nova, Kyron, and Trout. That's 5 keeper picks in round 6. So all the AGMs and GMs of their respective tiers coming out, and their low CMV will look to provide good for the teams. But at this point, it is filling numbers on potential rosters, as that round 6 summary is over and with us. And now we will move on to round number 7, I say, hoping Mal can hear me in the background. Isn't too absorbed watching Overwatch. Nope, he appears to be ready to go as Azteca have their 2nd pick in a row, and it is Matty at 2065, and someone I'm so surprised to see go so far.
Yeah, Matt, you're going to be picked up there for 2065. Azteca getting another one of their picks on the board, and going to be their 2nd highest pick so far. So great pickup there for Azteca. But moving on, it is going to be Nate once again. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. I'm assuming you probably have a better idea.
GSG Zach, I'm just gonna go
All
straight
right.
with that. I'm gonna go with the obvious at 1980, another decent pick, someone who's gone so far, and another person on Illusory, only their fifth pick. It's gonna be Beck at 1920, another low player to fit in with D5 TTE and Kajir at 1920. Not a player I know much about Beck, but I'll look forward to seeing him joining my team for preseason. As we move on to Brave, and it is going to be Mother or I'm saying Mother RL at 1905 again. Brave not seemingly happy with their mid picks here.
Yeah, going to continue to pick up a couple more, but you know it's going to make that preseason very very competitive over at Brave, and now it is going to be Team Berserkers with their next pickup.
Yeah, 2100 again of a name that you have refused to say, and I see why. Because an X and a V next to each other, that is a combination for certain death here. And the next at 2010 is Auto Exec, another one of those average CMV players coming out here. And at 2010, Auto Exec is another one to challenge Sound, Juice, and Static for that second place roster, as Mimical clearly trying to find his wingman.
Yeah, very much the case. Dexterity, next pick up in the draft here. And for 2070, it is going to be Snoopy who goes over. A lovely pickup there. And another one of these sort of mid to high picks coming through here, Kingsman. Dexterity really stacking up their team.
Yeah, well, I've really put in trust in their first pick of Alanis. And next is Kroken at 2005. Another barely 2K player, as they look to solidify their potential options. Ty and Kairu obviously having those links before, they will be looking for that third man. And, well, they'll get another good person in Kroken, someone who's been around for a while. But another 2K, as I see Halo mention, and it's Clues at 1945 looking to potentially find his way onto KDJ's roster.
Yeah, KDJ having a good draft so far across all the tiers, and they're going to continue that by picking him up. But now Serene moving over to Jamie for another sort of mid pickup here, and they've picked up a lot of these sort of mid-range players in the past couple of rounds, Kingsman, and it's certainly going to be competitive over there.
Yeah, it is going to be competitive as we move over to Aspire, and they pick up Jeffo at 1940, another sort of mid-range pick. And, well, that's going to be a very nice pickup for them.
Yeah, I think I saw him in chat earlier on saying I'm never going to get picked. Well, there you are. And now we're moving on to Forg. It is going to be Akaza. I'm going to go with Akaza there for Forg 1955, joining alongside a pretty stacked roster already. Going to be a good pickup for them with that sort of mid-CMV. Now we're going to be moving on to Deathcloud, though, Kingsman, and that is going to be Zampler.
Yeah, it's going to be Zampler at 2005. They move away from the low CMV picks, and they're going to look to give Verify a bit of competition. Although with Redmob and Verify's strength together, I'm sure that won't be much competition, but it's nice to have a bit of competition for Verify. Next is someone who almost helped that Brave rebuild last season, someone who's gone so far again and is pretty decent for their CMV. It is Sido at 2020.
Yeah, Sido at 2020, going to slot in perfectly there into that team. Let's see, it's going to get competitive for those high spots over a Momentum. But now moving on to 20R, it is going to be Sharky Boy for 2025.
Yeah, 2025, 20R are clearly happy with their low-end picks. They pick up their fifth 2K plus of the Master Draft, and DSQ still want more Master players. And it's Aero Wright, so someone who clearly loves Aero Wright, 271, coming in at 1940, someone to challenge Captain Quark Minty at that low CMV range. And that's a good pick for 135. I believe we've just skipped the pick, no? But if we haven't, it's Unitox who pick up Mental Coach at 137, and it's only their second 2K of the draw.
Can confirm we have not skipped a pick, which is obviously really, really good. But Mental Coach, like you say, can be picked up there. Wonderful pickup by Unitox. Now moving on to Shadow, and well, that's kind of him. He's bringing food to the casters today, and well. I have a banana for you. It is going to be drafted over to Shadow for 2K. Lovely pickup there.
Yeah, I think he's going to need more than a banana to keep a roster spot at Shadow Esports. Only the second 2K picked up by them here today. And System of Solaris need another player, and their next player is Nebmeister at 2030. It's their fifth 2K plus as we see these teams stacking up on 2K players now as we move back to Owl Esports, and they pick up Penny at 2005.
Yeah, Penny going over to Owls for 2005 there. Lovely pickup there for round 7. And, well, after this little summary, Owls are going to have another pick of the litter, I guess you can say, of what's left coming up. But a little bit of a summary before we get into our final few picks of the Master Division. You know, I'd say I don't know the Master Division very well, so my standout there is just going to go to I Have a Banana for You because it's a very creative name.
Mine's the fact that Matty's gone to pick 121. I thought, considering how active he is in certain communities, he might have got a pick up on a team a bit earlier than that, but Azteca stealing him at 121st pick as we move on to round number 8, the final round in Master, and I believe Master being the only tier to have 8 rounds of picks today as we move on. Obviously, confirming Penny getting picked up by LZ Sports as their first pick of round 8 and their final Master pick. It's Flocky again, and at 2010, they're seemingly needing competition in that mid spot.
Yep, very much so. Owls picking up Flocky again for 2010. Lovely pickup for there. I've just had a warning from Mal saying this might break, so let's hope it doesn't. But over towards Team Berserkers, it is the Mississippi for 2030. Lovely pickup there by Berserkers towards the end of, I guess, the start of round 8 and towards the end of the pickups. And nothing has broken just yet, which is positive.
Yeah, but Mitch is the final pickup for Shadow at 2015. Another player around that mid CMV, so if they need to go a bit higher, then there we have it. At 2015, it's Mitch going to be picked up as we start trying to figure out who the final pick of the draft is going to be. It's not Auxie at 2150, tied highest player with Tico, so at pick 144, he's going to have to play really well in preseason if he wants to take a spot off the 14th pick in Master.
Yeah, definitely. DSQ now moving on with their final pick of Master, and it is going to be Darisinho. I don't know. I'm going to go with that. But for 2055, going to get picked up there alongside an already stacked roster of 7 players.
Yeah, I mean, 8 players, that's a lot to get through in preseason. It's Mystica at 2020, another 2K player for 20R. They're really building those options around the mid-CMV's player. Sharky Boy, Zobas, Storm, Trask, and now Mystica. They're really getting their options together here as Momentum have another pick, and it goes to Blocks at 2070, who's only 10 CMV away from being their highest pick in the draft.
Yeah, very much so. Block's going to go over to Momentum, and like you say, a sort of 10 CMV away from being the highest. Going to be a bit of a competition towards the top there. But moving on to Team Berserkers, it is going to be Slayer Crime 2115, and one of those higher pickups there for Berserkers as well.
Yeah, another one who I don't know how he's gone so far in the draft, but clearly team's not a fan of high CMVs towards the end. And speaking of, it's another 2100 plus as Owen will look to provide some competition for Dreamy at 2135.
Yeah, moving on to the penultimate pick here of the Master Division. It is going to be Dark9215 for 2035, and joining alongside those 7 players you can see on your left. We'll see how he's able to fare in preseason.
Yeah, and this means by process of elimination, the final player of the Master Draft is going to be Hove Baps at 2115. He'll be their second highest player and only their third in the 2K region, but he will be competing with Halo for that spot. And there we go. That is the Master Draft done. Hove Baps rounds out round 8 and nothing's broken yet. So Mal has done really well in production so far. that nothing is broken. But here you go. Here's the round summary, and no player below 2K in the final round. That is a massive shock.
It's a bit of a shock. It just shows the approach that people are having to master this season, and actually to a lot of the divisions that we've seen, especially yesterday, a lot of them are favouring those mid picks over those high picks, and well, it's showing right here in master. Can we quickly get a massive W Mal in chat just for not breaking the whole stream? It's a welcome change to yesterday. It's a welcome change to yesterday.
See, if it breaks now, then you're on your own. Well, it hasn't broken yet, and he is celebrating. So I'm somewhat hoping
who won the Overwatch, Mal?
Now.
He must be happy. His favourite team must have won the Overwatch.
Maybe they must have won the Overwatch. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Master Tier draft. That is the Master Tier draft done now, and we are one tier down. Every single player that signed up in Master has now got a franchise. But we're only 1/6 of the way through this stream, and we'll catch you in a 5-minute short break as we look to wrap up the Elite Tier next. We'll see you soon.
Touch you were a good kisser. I was born to sing, but now I'm a sinner. Falling for you. Falling for you. Falling for you. Falling for you. For you.
Story meets the moon. I'm the sun that will not move. Do you think you are? Who do you think you
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the second tier of the second day of Draft Master Tier is now completed. As we head in to the Elite Tier, I'm still joined by Hodge, someone who
Don't
in the
get rid of
green
me.
room someone in the green room said they're a bit of an expert on the Elite Tier, so I might be
I did not say that.
So I sort of might be feeding towards him a bit more in the Elite Draft. But without any further ado, Mal, send us away with round 5 of the Elite Draft. Obviously, it ended yesterday with Unitox picking their third pick in Morksey. I don't even know how you say that name, but it's certainly not the French pro, and they pick up Sky at 1830.
Yep, Sky at 1830, going to be the first pickup there for Unitox. Great pickup to go alongside there. Already 3 picks that they had. Actually, they've only had 3 picks, so their 4th pickup there. And moving on, it is going to be Wilkie, as someone who I've casted with a lot, but not really seen him play there, Kingsman. So excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, someone getting onto the field. An already brilliant team of Saison, Cans, and Woozy Panda. Will be very hard to break in there, but Wilkie will give it his best shot. And next is Death Clouds. They pick up IX Galaxy XI at 1805. Another 1800 pick here in the Elite Tier. They aren't looking at committing high at the start of Death Cloud, as they pick their 4th within 15 CMV.
Moving on to DSQ, it is going to be... hang on. It is going to be Cola Ryan there for 1855, and that goes alongside Nem, not Nemo, Wessel, and Alf.
Yeah, another pickup. The 4th for DSQ is at Systema Solaris now, and they pick up Renko, who goes along with GC Exile, PJ, and the Deadly Wet Wipe at 1810. Clearly looking for more options in that mid-range, and Renko is someone who's been around a while. They know what he can provide.
Yep, definitely. Moving on to Owls, what is their pick going to be? It is going to be Bondab there for 1770, slotting alongside Moggy, Caldi, Liam, and Linkso.
Yeah, another player that I used to GM back in the day. He's taken a bit of a break from RSC, but he is back now and ready to make a punch with Owls. As next is Mr. Spud 777 for KDJ at 1785. And a nice pick. I've seen Spud play. He's pretty decent. So at round 5, that is a very nice pick.
Yeah, Spud's got a lot of fans in the chat as well, by the looks of things. So good to see that pick come through. But now over towards Alpha Surge. It is going to be Cedrata for 1780, slotting in alongside Rollback Noodles, Eevee, Golden, and Rohu. Lovely Alpha Surge roster being built there. But now over to Azteca. It is Brian Brute JE.
Yeah, and at 1815, another mid-range player here for Azteca, clearly needing more options in the 1815 range. They've reconfigured and come back and need that. And Dexterity looking to build on their roster with It Justify. They had a very strong day one. I think the strongest day one of a few teams did Dexterity, and It Justify. And he's going to add to that strength as he is pick 90 in the Elite Tier.
Moving on to Brave, who've then they gone for their round 5 pick. It is going to be Rilo for 1755. So a lot of these sort of 1750, 1760 picks coming through early on here for Brave.
Yeah, clearly happy with Rapidza, and why wouldn't you be as a high CMV? He is a brilliant, brilliant pickup. And next up, it is a max CMV player, I believe the last of the max CMV players. Oh no, I am wrong. Ignore that. But is Dapsy at 1875 a max CMV player? Clearly, they decided that Serenity and Rico are happy at mid-range and they want to go for higher at Aspire.
Moving on to Fork, it is going to be, is that Whammed or Warmed? I'm going to go with Whammed. 1755, one of the lower players here in this elite division, but you are going to need those sort of picks if you want to build a good team, and he's going to slot in very nicely.
Yeah, and 20R are going to pick Bubbles. They want that. They want those low picks, and they've got another minimum CMV in Bubbles. They're really hoarding onto them, and when minimum CMVs are of importance, it gives those trade values even more potential. As we move on to round number 5, and it's a keeper pick, and a very, very good keeper pick at Mithril 1760. Someone who's been brilliant in Elite for a while, and at 1760, Shadow have done well to keep his management services so they can secure him in the Elite tier.
Yeah, definitely Mithril, always play to keep an eye on, and 1760 certainly going to be a good shout over to Shadow. But now over to Illusory, it is going to be Rev 135, 1780, sort of one of these sort of low to mid sort of picks here, and slotting in very nicely on the sort of previous picks board there, as you can see who's already on that team.
Yeah, as they move in with a host of brilliant players and another player coming down from Master, that's to be the second highest, picked up by Sanctuary's Joker, someone who was once called one of the best sub-ins that Shadow made in a Master tier game. Well, he's dropped to Elite and he'll look to prove what he can do with Sanctuary and Team Berserkers. Why they need more picks in Elite is beyond me. But their 8th pick of the Elite tier is going to be Ethan. Clearly, they don't have a plan at Team Berserkers.
Yeah, clearly Berserkers have, I mean, we saw the absolute train of picks they had yesterday in Elite, and now they're picking up another person, but now it is over to Serene, and it is going to be Evru for 1760. Great pickup here for Serene, slotting in as one of their sort of min players, and going to fit in nicely.
Yeah, fits in nicely. And next is Neat, to pick their highest player of the draft. They've only gone with 3 sort of mid-tiers so far. And Faxon, who's still remaining as a high player, they say they need Faxon as their high CMV player. And clearly, he is going to be, or looking to be, the man to push Neat forward. And at 100th pick, he caps off round 5.
Is going to do exactly that. There is your summary of all the picks from round number 5, and well, I can't wait to see who's going to go in round number 6, as we're going to get things started very, very shortly, and see who is going to be next up here for Nate, because they are going to have another pick on the board straight after. And who's it going to be? It is going to be Razor Scorch for 1765. So they picked away one of their sort of higher picks, and now looking to pick away one of the lower picks.
Yeah, Razor Scorch, someone who I remember from his Green Phoenix days. I can't remember what tier that was, but Stingray never said a bad word about him, so it's a good pickup in my book. And Team Serene, again, needing to solidify those low CMV options. They pick up a minimum CMV in Alec, 1745, another sub-type CMV pickup, but someone who might look to push themselves ahead of Nick on Team Serene.
We'll see. Now over to Dexterity. It is VU with a nice little smiley face there, and let's hope he's smiling about that, because 1760 picked up by Dexterity. Going to be their second lowest pick so far, maybe in a bit of a fight with Resist Jaguar for that slot.
Yeah, and well, that is a very interesting roster. View was on the elite team of Dexterity last season, so they've clearly seen him there and picked him up alongside Doink, and that roster could be very, very deadly. And they now pick up our highest CMV player yet in Avex at 1830, who might look to cause some disruption in any potential plans that Dexterity have. And next up for Sanctuary, it is JM Slayer 101 at 1750, their second lowest CMV pick yet.
Yeah, second lowest CMV, one of the lowest sort of picks there, but always good to have options towards every angle of your draft, and are going to certainly have some choice down towards the lower end. Now on to Shadow Esports. It is going to be I'm just going to go with Ethan. Ethan. There's a lot of players called Ethan, but here's another one, and he's going to Shadow Esports for 1760.
Yeah, another low pick, tied lowest for them. And next it's Connor, who will be going to 20R. It was 385S and Yummy bringing the chemistry yesterday, but it's Connor who's going to look to potentially take that main roster spot away from 385. That'll be very difficult given Kevin's caliber in the elite tier. Moving on to Forge next. They aren't happy with their low pick of Ryan yesterday, so they want to solidify that with Whammed and now NJ at 1750.
Yeah, NJ getting picked up here for Forg, like you say, just for that extra security, just for those extra options if needed. Now, moving on to Aspire, it is going to be Banan, who is going to be their keeper pick. And, well, Banan, always a solid player to look towards. And now he's going to be over as that keeper pick, 1745 minimum value for Elite.
Yeah, obviously replacing Ark as AGM. And as he takes an Aspire pick, a low CMV, another one for Aspire. I think they've got 3 on the board now. And next it's Yogi, who is going to Brave Esports. A nice pickup for them, and at mid CMV range, he will certainly give competition to Air. And they've gone away from the low CMV picks now. And Owls, their next pickup is X Vinci at 1800.
Yeah, X Vinci at 1800, gonna be one of the higher picks here, I guess, when you look towards the previous picks. Linkso's the only one higher, and I guess in direct competition with Caldi for that slot. But now moving over to Azteca, it is going to be Raza for 1765.
Yeah, another low CMV. He will look to challenge Hypnos for that low roster spot, and at round 6, he is a very, very decent pick. I can see him in chat highing that decision, and it's just Pank at 1825 who joins Rahu, Eevee, Roll, Golden, and Sidrata on Alpha Surge.
Yeah, good team being built over there at Alpha Surge. Just Pank for 1825, but now over towards KDJ. Who have they gone for next? It is GCI Boom for 1763.
Yeah, GCI Boom. He's not exactly a GC Exile, but GCI Boom will look to give some good accountability of himself this season. And next up, it is another Max CMV pick. They haven't gone high yet, have Azteca, and they pick up Guma, someone who has a lot of talk behind them.
Well, we'll get to see if it's a good reason when the season begins. But now over to Sistema Solaris, and it is going to be Qola 9 for 1745. Another minimum pickup coming through, and, well, I believe it is going to be the first one for Sistema Solaris.
Yeah, and that might be crucial. We all know how tight CMV gaps can be between teams, and that is a nice pickup. And now it is Pyric who goes to DSQ. Obviously, they picked up West at 1745 and picked up a high pick, so they now go with a low pick to potentially challenge Alf in that low roster spot. And moving now towards the end of round 6, it's Deathcloud who they pick up Wojtka at 1780.
Yeah, Wojtka for 1780, going to go alongside an already stacked roster there and going to fit nicely in with that CMV. Moving on to Momentum, it is going to be Camronk for 1770, and joining alongside, once again, a lovely team of players going to slot in there nicely with, I guess, that just over min CMV, sort of in that mid-range there. Kingsman are going to fit in lovely.
Yeah, the owner of the Pinchman finally gets himself a dedicated franchise. And now it's going to be Raztok at 1805. Another sort of high-end pick for them. They need to solidify their high to mid-end picks here at Unitox. And they believe Raztok is good competition at 1805 with Sky and Tuck. But that is it for round 6, the penultimate round of picks coming out here. And I don't know the tier well enough to see if there's been any shocks. I think, for me, personally, View going so far into it, not been sniped by another franchise, is very interesting, because at 1760, he has some ridiculous value and potential behind him, but it's coming towards the end of Elite.
Well, we'll see as we get into round number 7 here for Elite. And it is going to be starting off with Unitox. So we're just going to get a look at their last pick of round 6 before jumping into their first pick of round 7. And it is going to be Rasky there for 1770. Unitox continuing to build into their sort of mid-range of players that they already have picked up. And, well, it is going to be, I say joining alongside, they've not got many. So Rasky going to be one of the first.
Yeah, he's going to be one of the first. And Wolfbart is next to join Momentum. One that I'm surprised Serenity didn't take to Aspire, if I am completely honest. But a nice pick anyway. 4 Momentum here, adding to an already big roster here. As next up is Death Cloud, and they're going to pick up Riley at 1780 CMV.
Yeah, trend continuing here with these mid picks for Death Cloud. Not actually opting to go for a minimum CMV pick just yet, so I'll be interested to see where they go with that. But yeah, it is just going to be that for them. And now over to DSQ, it is Zabuza 1845.
Yeah, they need some more high-end picks to challenge Alf, just in case Alf doesn't perform. I'm sure he will be in the first pick of Elite. I'm sure he's got nothing to worry about. And next for System of Solaris, it's Rext at 1840 CMV, their second highest pick of the draft so far, and it gives some great competition to PJ, JC, and Renko for that mid-roster spot.
Coming in with DSQ's next pick, it is going to be Lucky, who is going to be their final pick of Elite for 1760. And well, DSQ now continuing to sort of go down to I guess those mid to low range sort of picks, going to round out their Elite roster. And now for KDJ, it is going to be BN for 1855.
Yeah, BN, someone who was almost on a dominant Alpha Surge Master team and was kicked off it for Dote back in the day. He has rejoined RSC and looks to take KGJ forward again. And next up, oh my goodness, it's 7GLX Mandia at 1770 CMV, another mid-range CMV for Alpha Surge as they look to build a very balanced roster.
Yeah, moving over to Azteca, it is going to be Stixo. I'm going to go with that, but 1840, going to slot in lovely there over to the side of Azteca.
Yeah, Stixo at 1840 CMV. He is their second highest pickup for them. And next up, it is Owls, who pick up Bully IQ at 1840. Actually, the highest pick so far for Owls. So they've decided very late in the draft that they need a high CMV player. Bully IQ is going to look to bully his way onto the roster.
Well, we'll see. But now over to Brave. It is Lipo. I'm going to go with Lipo. I'm going to go with 1875. Probably pronounced that name awfully. Apologies. But joining alongside a Brave team who already has a pretty stacked up roster.
Yeah, and next is Aspire, who take Bigger Clips at 1855. I mentioned they might need some higher players, and Bigger Clips joins Shadow and Dapsy in that high CMV roster players. And yeah, Bigger Clips, the penultimate pick of, or not the penultimate pick, the one before penultimate for Aspire, but the last pick for Aspire is Forger back again, and this time it's the final max CMV player in Ruvo RL.
Very much is, like you say, final max CMV player, and their highest player of the draft being their last pick, going over to Forg. But now, the final pick of Elite is going to be Con, over to 20R, 1850, and, well, one of their higher picks. Actually, their highest pick as well, so a lot of these higher players continuing to go very late into the draft here.
Yeah, and it shows the versatility of having those mid-range picks. Those high picks aren't as essentially useful, but Con being last pick, if it's the Con I'm thinking of, is very, very strange, because he is a very good player on his day and made some appearances in Master last season. I might be thinking of the wrong Con, but if so, then it's a very surprise he's gone last. But Hodge's window is deciding to have a war with him, as we get to the end of the Elite Draft. Gamer not wanting to let sunlight in. Who's surprised?
I just wanted to let the LED light in the background look more cool, but the wind's having other ideas and is now trying to pull my curtains out the window. So we're gonna stop that before it gets any worse. But yeah, Elite is gonna be over, and we're now moving on to Rival as we continue on our second day of the draft. So we're gonna go to a quick break, Kingsman. When we come back, it is gonna be the Rival Day 2 draft.
This place behind, no second chance. I know there's more to find. 'Cause we can find a way. We can find a way. Find another place where we can just escape. We can find a way. We can find a way. We can find a way. Find another place where we can just escape. We can find a way. We can find a way. Find another place where we can just escape. We can find a way. We can find a
Do you believe me? Do you believe me that I'm a lonely soul? Would you love me? I've been searching, always wanted more. Can you hear me? Do you believe me that I'm a lonely soul? Would you love me? I've been searching, always wanted more. Can you hear me? Take time, lost that shit. So hard when you hit that shit. Hit that split and you want that kid. You bring things back 'cause you don't wanna hit it. Don't worry about this. Don't die the things you wish when you in that place. You want that kiss and want that kiss. Do you believe me that I'm a lonely soul? Would you love me? I've been searching, always wanted more. Can you hear me? Do you believe me that I'm a lonely soul? Would you love me? I've been searching, always wanted more. Can you hear me? take all my energy. Do you believe me that I'm a lonely soul? You know me. I've been searching, always wanted more.
I'm the storm that meets the moon. I'm the sun that will not move. Do you think you are? Who do you think you
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with two other tiers have been completely drafted. Next up is the rival tier, and you'll notice Hodge is no longer fighting with his windows because Hodge is no longer with me for the rival tier. I am now rejoined from yesterday by the man who topped off the draft day yesterday. It is Veiled. Veiled, welcome back to the draft stream. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. A long night. Went to bed a bit late because I had to get some stuff sorted, but I'm ready for this second draft day now.
Yeah, second draft day, and it's rival round 5, and we will get underway with the rival straight away as yesterday Shadow ended out their day 1 with Evoke at 1695 in Sanctuary. Start the day off picking up Local at 1740. Someone who expected to go very early in day 1 has made it all the way to day 2 and will be joining Bonesy and Tidare on Sanctuary.
Yeah, someone who has been chilling a bit in the RSC Discord server playing some 6-mans. I heard he was off the game for a bit, but he's starting to improve at a rapid pace, so good to see him picked. And it will be Red RL, the second rival pick of the day, at 1690 to round out that team.
Yeah, their second lowest pick at Systema at 1690. They've clearly strategized they need to come in with low picks. As 20R, their next pick is Killer at 1730. He'll be looking to make a mark as he is challenging Ruben Salvahart for a spot on that 20R roster.
Indeed he will. And then coming up, we have the DSQ pick, the fourth one. And it will be Change to round out that team. 1670, I think he'll be fighting Blissey for that bottom spot of that team. But a good addition, I think, to have some competition going into the preseason.
Another incredible player who should have gone day 1 in my opinion, but somehow stuck around. There's Dexterity, come back, and it's Harrigan at 1715 joining Friday, same CMV, but Harrigan will look to be the person to push Dexterity forward as he is their round 5 pick in rival. Moving on is Azteca next, and they have gone with Colo at 1725. He will be tied highest CMV with Fall.
Yeah. Once again, the competition at the same CMVs. It looks like a strategy most teams are applying. And honestly, it works really well in other sports, so I'm not really too surprised to see that happening. But we do have Alpha Surge picking up EPG TV, who's at 1720, which he's alone in that range on his team.
Yeah, although he has Rapids, has ridiculously good competition at 1730. That is a ridiculously strong team they're building, and EPG would love to be a part of it. And next up, someone who's been around a very, very long time. It's Drum Hunter at 1675. The first pick under 1700 for Owls in Rival.
Yeah, and no doubt that his spot is pretty certain at the moment, but Veka will be joining Illusory at 1670. He's right between Mars on Nerf and Detroit in CMV value, so also some competition going on there. I don't know much about him, do you?
GM'd him ages ago when he was an elite, a decent player then. I'm sure if he's kept up, he's a decent player now. And it's everyone on RSC Cast's favourite player is Neom at 1675, going to Death Cloud Esports. At 1675, he will be tied with Stealthy Wolf.
Yeah, and he's making the draft go Neom as well. As we have momentum at pick 91, they pick up Sick One. Pretty cool name if you ask me. 1740. He'll be tied with Easy God at the top here.
Yeah, he will be their only fourth pick for momentum. So surprised they've gone for another high pick. Really, I thought a low pick would be next on their agenda, but it's Azazel at 1705 who is joining Anthony on Neat Esports. They clearly have a plan to go for mid players, and Azazel is their first one of the day.
Not a bad shout, that is. At Unitox, they will be picking up Payo, my bad. 1690. It's a very nice and even CMV range here. Maybe competing with Terry for that spot. I'm not sure about team caps in Rival, but he's gonna be a good addition to this team. Already seeing some strength on that team coming in. And Brave will be making the next pick, and it will be Hamish at 1670.
Yeah, clearly they want some low roster options, and Hamish at 1670 will look to challenge Subby for a low roster spot here. And 1670, it's a good pickup for Brave Esports. And Forge, wanting to move on, they go with Utopia. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Utopia has been around ages and is a very, very nice pickup with Wolfie at Forge.
Yeah, mainly seen her down in the ERS scene. She was actually in Academy tier back then, and Small, another guy in the Academy tier from back then, 1675. He's gone all the way up to Rival. Someone I used to compete with spots on for teams. Nice to see them move very far up the ladder here. He will be the 5th pick for Team Serene, joining some other great players. But Berserkers, they will be picking up Sasuke, their keeper pick, at 1685.
Yeah, and that's the reason they went for 3 high players yesterday. They knew they had Sasuke in the bank as that low 1685 player. Sasuke, a very, very nice low keeper pick here. Next up is KDJ, who go for V2X Evo at 1735. Their tied highest pick yet at 1735. Potentially maybe not happy with Boyo yesterday, and they thought they needed to solidify some competition for that top roster spot. And Team Berserkers, they have another keeper pick in round 5, and it's Petroid.
Yep. I've talked with this guy a bit. He's a very good coach for any team, and I'm sure that this team will be happy to have him at the helm. And the next pick number 100, it will be Dexterity with their 7th pick, and it will be Shattered, another keeper pick who used to AGM for Petroid a little while ago, 1680, and he will fit right into that team at that value.
Nah, he's too bad. He's too bad. I've seen him. I had to watch him play Rival yesterday. Too bad to be on that team. But yeah, no, a lot of keeper picks starting to come out now. 2 from Berserkers, and they definitely had to get their trades in to secure that in round 5. But obviously the 2 big ones I want to mention this round were Local and Change. 2 who shouldn't, in my opinion, have gone to day 2, but have, and luckily both found good franchises here, as Veiled takes a huge drink as we get ready for round 6 here.
Yeah, let me have a sip, man. It's fine. But Dopamine, what I was getting from that sip right there, he will be joining Aspire at 1695, tied with Kiaran at the CMV value. Perhaps some competition building up there, Kingsman.
Yeah, potentially he'll look to give his GMs a rush of dopamine if they do well on the roster, as we now move to Deathcloud, who have got 5 picks already, and they pick up Total is their next pick, 1720 CMV. He will look to solidify that team alongside TJ Mentsu, Stealthy Wolf as those sort of mid to high players.
Yeah, also been around the scene for quite a while now, but KDJ, they will be picking up Just Toro at 1720, and he's gonna be in the middle of the ranges of this team CMVs, maybe close to Borissa, who will make the team, who knows, but we will get pick number 104 before we can get to that conclusion. It will be Alpha Search once again, picking up Ping Winner IS at 1670.
Yeah, 1670, it's their second low CMV player, and they're potentially looking at someone for that sub spot, and Ping is that person. Rapid's already confident he's put Winners franchise in the chat, so that's very confident. It's Trixie next to go to Systema Solaris in their absolute inventory of players that they have so far. Next up is Trixie, second highest CMV at 1730, and he is picked up along with Systema.
Yep, and Forge, they will be picking up Lotus 27 at 1675, their lowest pick yet. Quite a bit of competition in that range actually. 2 players under 1700 to compete with for that spot.
Yeah, there's a few bits of competition there for them. Next up is Brave Esports, who pick Weekend. We are certainly on the Weekend, and so is he as he moves his way over to Brave Esports 1725, the second highest pick, and someone that's been around and done consistently well here. So he'll look to provide some competition on that Brave roster. Next up for Unitox, it's Cristiano.
Yep, he's taken his name from the wheels that everyone is rocking, and he is a max CMV tied with Ivelius on this roster. A lot of high and low players on this team, so I'm sure he'll fit right in on that roster. Number 109th pick in Rival will be Spacey, with a little bit of an emoji going on at 1700 CMV.
Yeah, another player which is very surprising. He's made round 6 at this point. Spacey has been around a while, especially in the elite tier. And, well, see him drop in Rival today too. It surprises me a bit. And Waffle_R is the first sub 1700 pick here for Momentum as they start to solidify their potential sub options.
Yep, you have some great variation in CMVs on that team, and I'm sure that will carry on when we go into league play. But it looks like Mel's PC might have broken down. Nope, we're going. Shadow pick number 111. And we pick up Scope at 1720, and that might be a steal.
Okay, tell us why.
I don't know. Just trying to add some
you can't say you are on this franchise. Every pick I want proper analysis. This is poor communication between management. And next up it is Lola at 1730 CMV. He is going to be next up on DSQ, and at 1730 he's their highest CMV player, and he will look to make a change in that DSQ roster. And next up is Owls Esports as they pick their keeper pick of Bale 34.
Yep, another Danish person, and we've had quite a bit of chats going on in the off-season, so it's good to see him on that roster. He'll be joining some other people like Kyron, Nor, Tepai, Casey, and Drum Hunter. I'm sure he'll fit good on that team. Sanctuary, they pick up Drago at 1675 here.
Yeah, 1675, their second lowest pick. They're potentially looking at sub options here as Drago joins Skips on that 1675 list towards the back end now, and as Azteca again, and they pick up Ponk at 1715.
Yep, and next up is Momentum. They have picked number 116 in Rival Tier. It looks like we have slowed down a bit. Ponk, you'll fit in with Morph, Magic, Colo, and 2 other people. I couldn't quite read their name in time, but Momentum picking up Jason Crack at 1685, and that's quite a funny name.
What is it? Because that's a crack in it at the end, or
it's
is that the funny name?
Gems on, and then it can be said a couple of ways,
Yeah, I get that. And next is 1675, Ferret Jax 15 at 1675. Obviously, with Illusory having those 2 high management picks, they need to solidify with low picks, and Ferret Jax 15 is the next person who is going to look to be added to the Illusory roster.
Yep, and 20 are picking up James, so I have seen this name quite a bit of times. I've had some good words about it. Some not so good words, but I'm pretty sure he's going to fit right in on that team. He's going to be competing with Toe for that spot on the roster, though.
Yeah, he will be competing. And next is Hard Flame, the lowest CMV so far for Team Serene, and he picks himself up very nicely at 1670. Joining Small, Team Serene came in today realizing they must have needed low players, and to end the penultimate round is Team Berserkers with Stingray, another person that pained me to watch him last season in the rival tier, but still is a very good pickup. And they've had 3 keeper picks here in Patroid, Sasuke, and Stingray, so very interesting to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. They have 3 keeper picks. It's going to be interesting to see how that translates into league play, as we do have our round 6 summary here. Anything sticking out to you here, Kingsman?
I think the Spacey getting to round 6 at 109 is very interesting. He's a very solid player on his day, and if he's playing the game a lot. But apart from that, nothing else sticks out to me. As we'll move on now, Mal, to round number 7, as we obviously conclude Stingray as the round 6 keeper pick, and moving in to round number 7, and Sanctuary have picked up Jakey at 1705, the first proper sort of mid-range CMV player as he looks to get his way onto the Sanctuary roster.
Yeah, and he will be rounding out that roster pretty well here. But we do have Team Serene. They will be picking up Phoenix RL. I'm quite surprised to see him go this late, actually. If it is the Phoenix that I think it is. At 1725, he's going to be competing with Kaiser for that roster spot.
Yeah, he is. It's the high CMV picks again. And it's 20R next up as they pick Pafo at 1725, the third highest player there. And at 1725, he looks to give some competition to Rube, Killer, and Salvahart on the top of that roster.
He will indeed. And now Illusory, they will be picking up Leonic at 1680. And quite some low picks on this roster already, but I'm sure that he will look to make an impression on that roster.
Yeah, he will look to make an impression, another low CMV player, and it's Owls Esports next up with Fat Cat at 1735. They decided they need some more high CMV players to give Nor some competition, and it's Fat Cat at 1735 who joins Owls Esports at pick 125.
Indeed he will, and then Azteca with the next pick, they will be picking up Jackdaw at 1730, the highest CMV pick yet on this roster. So on paper could be able to make his way onto that roster. Actually a lot of picks on this team above 1700.
Yeah, so they're going to have to cut some of them off. And next is QNS.FW joining the stacked Alpha Surge roster. So far, he'll look to slot in alongside Ethereal and potentially Ping Winner as that big chance to try and push his way onto that roster. Next up is Dexterity, and they put up Robot Miga on an absolute mass of players they've got at the minute. It takes them up to 8 players now, I believe, as they look to build the strongest rival roster, giving them the most possible picks.
Yep, and DSQ, they will be picking up Tomad the Toaster at 1700. That is a name for the history books right there. 1700, he will look to round out that team with a nice balanced CMV of 1700. Next up, my franchise, Shadow Esports, will be picking up Sammy Boy 1.0 at 1735. The highest CMV on this roster, and I'm sure that he'll fit right in.
Yeah, he's a pick that someone that has been around a while. I haven't seen him for some time, but he's been around, done his bits, and he comes back in Rival. And now the penultimate pick is for Momentum. It's the second highest player. It's Light567 at 1735 for Momentum as they look to end on that top heavy side of things, giving Esgod and Sikwon some competition. And the final pick for Neat Esports is Chiron R1 at 1715.
Indeed it is. And quite a bit of balance in the mid-range CMVs on this team. So gonna be surprising to see who can make an impression in the preseason here. And that will summarize up our rival draft 2 day here. As we have no more players to be picked. Everyone, I am hoping that you will find a good spot on your new teams.
Unless you're on Shadow, which in that case you are underveiled and you are not in a good spot. But it's, yeah, the surprise I think for me this round is Sammy Boy going so far into it. Sammy Boy, who's been around ages and is known by GMs, especially compared to some that I haven't seen before and potentially don't go to tryouts, is a big surprise to see him at 130. But Shadow have certainly got a nice pick on their hands there. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Rival tier is now done. We are halfway done of the stream, halfway through the tiers. We only have 3 more tiers remaining, and we will now take another short break as we give you guys a bit of time to relax and ourselves before we head into the Challenger tier. We'll see you shortly.
Bass guitar, simmer down and mash me up, tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock. Drive me around in your red Ford, shivers down my spinal cord. Oh, 'cause you got me holding, even if I'm the storm that meets the moon, I'm the silent one that mourns. Who you think you are? Who you think you
Ladies and gentlemen, we're slowly ticking down the tiers of the RSC draft, and here we are. But this time, we're not here for Master, not here for Elite, and not here for Rival. Challenger awaits us next, and well, it's still Vale joining me for the Challenger tier, and he is ready to give his insight as we get into the Challenger Round 5.
Yes, and first pick of the day will be going to Forge, who also just had their keeper pick of Stam and Boso from the day before. Now they will be picking Fawn at 1600 to round out that roster.
Yeah, that seems a very fun pick for Forge. Sorry, I had to get one joke in there. In my final tier, Mao, I can hear Mao face planting in the background of disappointment. Team Berserkers next up. They are going to pick Venny at 1555, going for another low CMV, a minimum CMV, in fact, to join Blaze A to give some competition or potentially just give us some CMV gap here for Team Berserkers, but a nice pickup regardless.
Yep, and now Shadow, we will be picking up Tesso at 1575. Perhaps looking to add some competition to Not So Juicy Skep or Lucas. Only time will tell, but we also have a Brave pick coming in, the 84th pick of Challenger, and it will be Racelaw at 1635, someone who has been along for a little bit in the lower tiers now, moving all the way up to Challenger at 1635, where he will be joining J Rice.
Yeah, joining J Rise on Brave, looking to give some steep competition, making his way up the tiers. He's going to look to take on Challenger tier with Brave next. Moving on to Death Cloud, and it is back to the Pokemon theme in Greninja at 1580 CMV. Someone who I saw play in the random rosters and looked very decent. So to see him in Challenger at mid CMV, he'll certainly give Cynics a run for his money.
Yeah, someone I've known for a little bit now. He's flown up, and another person I've known in the seasons prior. It will be Aris at 1640. He will be joining Sam, Brett, Dots, and Fliphip, and that roster is looking very well rounded out at this point. And now Alpha Search, they will be looking to add Mythics at 1560 to that team.
Yeah, a nice pickup, a low pickup, which was needed after their high spending habits of yesterday. They went big yesterday with Sen and Axlos, so they needed to cut short today. And this is not this did throw me off for a second. This is not the master player Captain Quark at 1920. This is 1595 Captain Quark. But I am very curious how they've managed to end up with the same name here.
Yeah, that is quite funny, but Neko, he will be joining Dexterity at 1560, the lowest pick they have so far, so not much competition at the moment for him. But next up will be Sanctuary with pick number 90, and it will be, drumroll please, CJ at 1625 will be joining Liam, Boswell, Butt Snorkel, and Fluxy.
Yeah, Sanctuary have come in today needing high players, and well, CJ gonna give Liam HM some competition at the high end for Sanctuary. Moving on is Systema Solaris, who go with Hunter RV, someone who is quite considerably known as a low-tier Team Serene legend. He doesn't stick with them this season. He moves to the Systema Solaris, and next it is Widow at 1630 for Unitox. Their third highest pick. They're just rolling in the high picks at Unitox.
Yeah, and he will be matching Specky's CMV. Gonna be interesting to see who can make the best impression on that roster, but 20R adding Ophanim as a keeper pick to Yo-Yo Panda, Arc, and Vortex.
Yeah, very nice team building at 20R. A low pick as well in I'm not even going to try and say it. I'm going to get it wrong. You can DM me and complain, but it's Little Dutch Boy, another Irish player, moving on to Neat D Lynch, keeping the theme going of Irish players as he joins a very nice roster as the highest CMV player. In fact, Eddie has a Deadly Dom, and Little Dutch Boy could be a very serious lineup. And next is Lois, someone who's been around Team Stream for a while, stays there at 1655.
Yep, and he'll be joining Meaty Pick, who has been known as a GM in the scene for quite a long time now. But we also have KDJ, and they are going to be picking up Paul Gabber 6 at 1610.
Yes, it is Paul Gabbert 6 at 1610, which is a nice little pickup there for KDJ, joining Buddha, Spence, and Yak at KDJ. And 20R, their second pick of the round. They're going to go with another keeper pick of Jason. So suddenly we're in territory of which of these great players is going to stay on that very, very strong roster at 20R.
Indeed they will, but before then we will have DSQ. They have pick 98, and it will be Nikolaj at 1600, where he will be matching Phoenix's CMV, perhaps some competition for him.
Yeah, Nikolaj, someone who, if I'm correctly right, is coming back from a ban and looking to make an impact in the Challenger tier. And next up, it is Saltskega, another person that's been around ages. And at 1605, it's a nice pickup for Forge towards the end of round 5.
Yep, someone who was in shadow for the Challenger tier in the prior draft season, where he did pretty well, so nice to see him go there. But now we have Dan at 1660, where he will be the highest CMV player on that Azteca roster, joining Simdog, Rubik's, King Jammy, and Akko. Pretty strong team being built here, so gotta be interesting to see how that turns out.
Yeah, I mentioned yesterday there was only 3 max CMVs in the tier, and this is the last one of them to go, and it's Azteca who pick him up. Give Aiko some competition here on that roster spot, and well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. As round 5 concluded, Mal, drag us over to the summary screen, please. Or has it broken? There we go. Round 5 summary, ladies and gentlemen. And Mal has not broken it yet. But the big talking point of the round for me is Aries, who was DMing me yesterday complaining how he didn't go day 1 is beyond me. And luckily, he goes early in day 2.
Indeed he does, and it's good to see some friendly names being picked in this round. However, it might be a bit late, but they still have a chance to make an impression on the rosters they've been picked to. And without further ado, let's move on to round 6, where Azteca will also have the first pick since they had the last pick of last round. And it will be LTXAcademy at 1560, a very low CMV player where he'll be competing with Simdog for that spot.
Yeah, he will. A low CMV pick. Simdog will have some competition, which I'm sure he's not going to be a fan of. Now, next up is DS Miles, the second lowest pick here for Death Cloud Esports. And at 1570, it gives some good variety here to Death Cloud, who look to expand on a very, very nice roster.
Yep, keeping the options open, but DSQ, they will be picking Okeen OZ at 1610, the only one at that value, where he will be looking to link up with Hikari to perhaps make that roster strong. I don't know much about him, but we do have momentum coming in with a pick, and it will be XM at 1570, the lowest player on this team so far.
Yeah, low CMV is what they needed at Momentum, and not having a round 5 pick, they still found a low CMV on Momentum, and it is going to be a nice pickup for them. KDJ, come back again, and it's Ollie at 1595, another mid-range CMV player, so potentially they're looking to give themselves some options in the mid-CMV range here in Challenger.
Yep, it looks like it's going to be elbows out on that team when we go into preseason, but we also have Team Serene adding some variety here. They will be picking up TB at 1590. The only one at that CMV range, really, so not much competition for him at the moment.
Yeah, not much. Yeah, not much to deal with for him at the minute, but I'm sure he will get in there. Neat up next, and it's George EFC next at 1600. I'm very curious what EFC stands for in this regard, but at 1600 he comes in as one of the mid-level players here for Neat, so a good bit of competition in that mid-range again.
Yep, and Epidex 1555, another min player being picked up, and at this time it will be by Illusory, where he will be joining the former Challenger winning roster, and Roxu won Rival last year as a sub. So a strong team built already. It will be tough for him to make his way on that roster, but Platoon Peaky at 1570 will be joining Solaris.
Yeah, another player I got to cast in the Illusory random tournament, got his team very far till they were knocked out by the eventual winners. I believe they got themselves to the semi-finals. So a very nice pickup here for System of Solaris. And next up at 1575, it's their second lowest pick of the challenge draft at Mezzo at 1575.
Indeed it is, and he'll be fitting right in on that team. Maybe a bit of competition with the round 1 pick, so it's gonna be very tough for him to make his way onto that team, but we do have Berserkers coming in with 2 picks in a row here, and the first one will be Sky TV at 1565, looking to add some more lower players on this team.
Yeah, they need that low CMV picks, they've realised, and joining Blaze and Venny will be Sky TV at 1565, a nice pickup for them at the low CMV, as they go again, and they switch the plan on its head. They go with Trazy at 1630, he will join Lynx as another 1630 CMV player, as Berserkers look to balance out their roster a bit more. They've got 2 low players in day 2, and they need a high player to balance it out.
Yep, and next there will be Aspire picking up Franduil at 1565, where he will be joining some other known names in the scene, especially Merits comes to mind, but he will be competing for a spot on that roster. But next up, Dexterity at pick number 114, they will be picking up Freaksy at 1595.
Yeah, Freaksy is a player that Shattered managed last season, so he knows what he can achieve, and I'm sure he is surprised to see it go all the way so far. And it's Heki as a keeper pick next up at 1555, low CMV. He will join CAF as 2 very, very strong low picks here for Unitox. So I can see why they've gone top heavy for their other picks.
Yep, and next up is Sanctuary, and they will be picking up Splashatino at 1555, another min player. They haven't had one yet, so a good addition to this team, where they will be looking to make an impact in preseason. Next up, we do have Brave coming in at number 117, and they will be picking up Hollow at 1555, another min player coming in here, Kingsman.
Yeah, potentially giving themselves some more CMV range options. And a nice pickup is Hollow for Brave at 15.55. Next up is Shadow Esports, and I'm sure Veiled will give his lovely insight again into XTPR at 16.55, the second highest CMV for them.
Yeah, very high CMV player. He has got some skill, and I'm sure that he will make an impact with those mechanics going into preseason. And next up, Azteca will be picking Slayer Dabs at 16.05, where he will be facing with King Jammy in the same CMV range.
Yeah, Slayer Dab's a player I've known for a absolute while now. Someone who should be have gone a lot earlier, has been in Challenger a while as well, and it's brilliant to see. And another keeper pick coming out, and it's Forge, who take Panic. No wonder they haven't been panicking about low CMB players. They had one in their back pocket all along, and that caps out round number 6 here of the RSC16 Challenger draft. And, well, any shocks jump to mind, Veiled?
Not really. I think I don't know this tier as much as the others, but not really anyone striking out to me. But some nice picks getting done here in the middle of this draft, and I think we ready to move on to round 7 already.
Yeah, round 7. Mal, take us away as we recap the end of the last round. Panic came out as a keeper pick for Forge Esports. So we get into the final round of the Challenger draft, and it is May. I'll go with May at 15.85. Another pick to challenge with Starman Bozo in that mid CMB range. They've got a lot in that mid CMB range. Have Forge, so it'd be nice to have some competition there. And Momentum, they will be bringing in T Nontix.
That is a tongue twister right there. 1580, where he will be facing with Ka and XM for that lower spot on that team. Perhaps looking to balance the team out with a high-low pick, or a low pick, I mean. Moving on, we do have LX joining Shadow at 1585. It is going to be tough because there's already 3 players in that CMV range looking to take that spot. But nonetheless, he will be added to that roster. And coming up, we do have Brave, pick number 124. And it will be Mech2322 at 1635. And they already have a couple players at that CMV range.
Yeah, but Mac making his grand return, and a grand return, I'm sure it will be at 1635, a very good pickup for them. And TJ2, I'm pretty sure we've already had TJ drafted in Challenger, so it'd be a shame that they couldn't have gone together, but Berserkers feel the need for another sort of high CMV at 1620, a bit more competition at the top, cannot hurt, and TJ2 will give that at Team Berserkers.
Yep, and next up we do have Unitox, and they will be picking up Noodle at 1625, where he already has Specky and Guido at that CMV range, but adding some more options to that team can never hurt. But we do have Dexterity, and they have picked number 127. I'm sure they have thought about this for a bit, because it is Nollern at 1620.
Yeah, Noloran, a solid player for that at 1620. Just want to say, Mal has said to us in the green room that it was May, not Mal. So good to know. Mal thinking he could be in Challenger, though, is a very nice thought for him, and I'm sure a bit of an ego boost. But moving on, at Mercury at 1605, he will join Aspire as the next pick in Challenger. Another sort of mid CMV range, but a good bit of competition cannot hurt.
No, it never can, but now we have Sanctuary picking up Buck 9797 at 1600, where Bud Snorkeler is waiting for him to give him some competition. Yep, and next up we do have Dexterity with pick number 130, and it will be Vesky 93 at 1580 here, Kingsman.
Yeah, they've got a lot of players around that mid CMV range. Gecko, Sick, and Freaksy, all players that can perform on their day. So Vask is going to need to give a good showing of himself at 1580. And next up is Owls Esports, who pick up Snowreen at 1580. Only their second or third pick in that range alongside Mezzo and Sam. Other than that, they've gone top heavy or low heavy. So it'd be interesting to see at little competition for those mid spots how it can pick up.
Yep, but before we can see that, we do have Clem being picked up by System as Solaris here, adding on to a pretty well-rounded team already. It's gonna be interesting to see how he fills the slot on that team. But we also have 20 getting picked up, or picking up. Riz, help me out here, Kingsman.
Rizzy WNHS is picking up 20R as his final pick, and at 1650, a nice high pick to challenge Yo-Yo will not hurt them. A bit of competition up the top is good, but that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our Challenger draft. There we go. That's Challenger all done. Nolaran, the big surprise for me in this round. He went a while. So did Mac. So two big players. And the big question I've got to ask is, does Mal go further into prospect draft than May did in the Challenger draft?
That is indeed going to be the question we need to get answered. But before we move on, we do have our prize pools on screen. We do have our sponsors. It is Badass Studios, SpartanWare, LTXAcademy. And if you're picking something up from the Rocket League store, make sure to use the code RSC-EU. And without further ado, we will be moving on to a break. Do you have any closing statements you want, Kingsman, before we do so?
No, but there is only 2 tiers remaining now. We've got through 4 tiers. Prospecting Academy people in chat, if you've been waiting all this time, we thank you for your continued support in watching the draft stream. But we will be closing out Challenger there. If you've been drafted, have a watch back of the stream, see where you went, and then we'll see what happens next. But thank you for staying tuned with us. Challenger is done. On to Prospect next.
Hello everyone, I am Veiled, and we have the prospect here coming up, and joining me for that is Hodge.
Yes, pleasure to be here alongside you, Veiled, for what used to be the lowest tier of RSC, now the second lowest, and now we get a chance to finish off the prospect draft with their day 2 picks. Well, it's going to be an interesting one, right? Prospect was I guess, pretty cinema yesterday. Obviously, I think that the most cinema tier out of any was the Academy tier yesterday, but Prospect was certainly up there as well, and I can't wait to see who is going to be going to which team here on day 2. So without further ado, let's get things rolling whenever Mal decides to stop watching Overwatch. And here we go with our last pick of yesterday. Moving on from that, it is to the first pick of today. It is going to be Berserkers getting 2 picks in a row. And to start it off, it is going to be. I've always questioned this name. Is it Serial?
I think it's Celeste RL.
Celeste? Alright, someone called him Serial in a VC earlier, so I just went with that. But yeah, there we go. Second pick.
Yep, and it will be Max C at 1535. I do want to add Celeste is someone my franchise picked up on, so I'm sure that Berserkers will be quite happy to pick him up, as well as Max C adding some competition in those higher CMB ranges. But next up, we do have Unitox with their third pick of the day, and it will be Melino 1945, a new face that I've seen in 6-man's Hodge.
Yeah, 1945, but coming in with a 1460 CMB will slot in nicely alongside the players already on the board there for Unitox. But now moving on to Aspire's next pick in Prospect, and their first one of day number 2. It is going to be the producer of the stream. It is going to be Mal, and no more name changes need to be made here in the Prospect stream. He is going to be happy. He is going to be drafted, and he is going to be drafted to Aspire. Now moving on to DSQ though, Veiled, it is going to be Aviator.
Yeah, and it is a 1460 pick, so looking to add some competition with IMAX Swifty here. But I'm sure he'll do fine at this roster. But we also have DevCloud coming in with a pick, and it will be Gary at 1470, where he will fit in very well with his teammates Oman, Ninja Knight, Reza, and Moro DK.
Yep, very much so. On to Team Serene we go, though, with the next pick. And who have they gone for to go alongside their roster so far? It is going to be the suckiest sucker. And let's hope, in his case, that he doesn't suck on the pitch. Because, well, you want a spot on that main team at the end of preseason. But what a brilliant name that is, I have to say. 1455, now on to Nate.
Yep, and they will be picking up your local pizza shop, which I might go to later, but 1500 CMV. He'll be the second highest on that team, so it should be pretty easy for him to make his way on that main roster, at least so far. But before then, we do have Dexterity, and they will be picking up Dave the Rave at 1465, someone who used to be in Prospect last season as well.
It's just what a name after what a name here in Prospect so far today. I'm loving these names, but he's going to go alongside a lovely roster of Dexterity players. Now moving on to Systema Solaris. Who have they gone for? It is going to be Bodyguard, and that is for 1535 to fit in alongside their already chosen players. So some good picks so far in the first sort of 10 that we've seen in round number 5. But moving on to Owl's Veiled, who's it going to be?
It's going to be Rosie in Bloom, someone I had in mind for Prospect as well before it became Academy, but I'm sure that she's going to fit in, or I think it's a he actually, going to fit in quite well on this roster. And next pick by KDJ, it is going to be Steph at 1535, the second highest on this roster.
Yeah, Steph 1535, excuse me, going over to KDJ, and like you say, second highest on the roster, slotting in lovely there for KDJ. But now over to 20R. Who is it going to be? It's going to be Shucky Boy for 1485, and 20R picking up their 5th player.
It will be, and Shucky Boy at 1485 being picked up by 20R here. It's going to fit in well there, but we do have Illusory. They are going to be picking up Beast Mode at 1450 here, and competing with MST for that lower spot on this roster. I'm sure that it's going to be a great fight in preseason. And next up, we do have Shadow, and they are gonna be picking up Smarties at 1445. Looking to add some competition to Talbro for that 4th spot on the team. And I'm sure that he's gonna give some good competition here.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see as we get into pre-season. But now, moving over to DCE, who's it going to be? It's going to be Pace Kado. I'm going to go with that. But it is 1495, the CMV, and going to be slotting in lovely there into DCE's already 5 picked players. But now moving on to Aspire Veiled, who's going to be Mal's teammate? It's going to be Gaz, our lovely caster friend. And you gotta love Gaz, right?
Yeah, Aspire are really cooking with their picks so far, picking up Gas alongside his new teammates, and I'm sure he'll be very happy to see himself getting picked here. Next up, we do have Fork. They are picking up Dusk at 1440, the lowest pick so far, so not really a lot of competition for him going on already.
Well, let's move on to Brave and see who they've selected for their next pick. And by the looks of things, it likely is just going to be, yes, it is, that keeper pick of Fatty Kyle, the GM of Brave, getting himself a solidified spot on that prospect team 1450. So lovely pickup there from Brave. But now, who is it going to be for Alpha Surge?
It's going to be one Jibs at 1495. He is in that mid spot, so it does look like there's going to be some competition for the spots on that team. I'm sure that is going to be a thrill to keep watching in the preseason. But next up, we do have the round 5 summary coming on here. And Hodge, are there any picks really standing out to you here?
Not really, to be honest. I feel like things have gone pretty much as they should. But one that does stand out to me is Mal. I don't know why anyone would pick Mal before round 8. But, you know, each to their own. And apparently, people think he's going to be better at Rocket League than he is at his producing.
That is going to be one to watch. Indeed. Can Mel
My name's
do
going to
it
get
better
changed
on
soon.
the pitch? Yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys. It might be a comeback from Mel. But before we get that, we will get our last pick of the last round, one Jibs. And next up, it will be Berserkers. And they will be picking up Snil at 1470 here.
Yeah, they will do. Snil going over to Berserkers 1470 to join alongside the 5 players already picked up on Berserkers. But now we move on to Owls and see who they have selected. It's going to be Nosgraf for 1445, joining alongside that team you can see on the left. And 1445, a pretty nice CMV to be coming in at.
Yep, and he is known to be rocking the Merc, which I'm very happy to see some Merc representation in the league. But next up, it is RSS-Owen at 1465, and he's going to be joining an already pretty stacked team, I can't lie. So it's going to be very hard to make his way into that team, but I'm sure that he has what it takes. And next up, Alpha Search. They're going to be picking up La Bomba Deluxe at 1460. And what a name that is, Hodge.
What a name that is, and what a name I've got as well. La Bomba Lux for 1460 is going to be picked up to Alpha Surge, like you say there. Lovely pickup. On to Momentum we go. It's going to be Jay for 1445, and that's going to slot in to that already 4 picks from Momentum. I guess they still have a couple more picks coming, definitely for sure. But Azteca is going to be the next pick coming, Veiled, and it is going to be Cozy who they've gone for.
Yep, at 1535, and a strong CMV he is at, but he's going to be competing with Stormy, someone I've known for back in the day, and that's going to be a thrill to watch. But we do have Illusory coming in with pick number 107, and it will be Matt Draco at 1470 here.
Yeah, Matt Draco going to Illusory at 1470. Lovely pickup there. I think the guy is very good for his CMV, and will be going over to Illusory. 20R now have their next pick of the bunch, and it is going to be Juice for 1475 here, Veiled. Lovely sort of mid CMV pickup. That I say mid, it's sort of mid to high, I guess. But over towards 20R he will go, and we will get to see who the next pick is going to be over at KDJ.
Yeah, and they will be picking up in Hammer at 1535. Someone I'm actually a bit surprised seeing go this late. I saw him in a tryout and he was doing quite well, but I'm sure that he's gonna fit in quite well on that roster and make his way onto the main roster. But we do have Brave with pick number 110, and it will be Eddie, and not the Challenger Eddie, but it is the Prospect Eddie at 1475.
Yeah, Eddie making his way over to Brave, 1475, like you say. Gonna be a very good pickup there for CMV. Over towards Aspire it goes now, and it is going to be Sam for 1475. Once again, a lot of these sort of mid CMV players being picked up. We've seen that quite a trend throughout the day so far. A lot of these, the focus with the managers, the franchise managers and everything is just focused on these mid CMV players, and then they think about the rest of things later on. But over to Sistema Solaris, 1440, it is going to be Drazen.
Yep, and I think his birthday also in that name. Quite easy to add that if you need some numbers, but 1440 is a pretty low CMV, and he will be the second lowest on that team. So good luck on that roster. But next up, Grizzly Bear KB joining lead at 1445.
Yeah, but joining Neat at 1445, like you say, Grizzly Bear KB. Like you say, one of the pretty sort of lower end of CMVs there, but certainly a good pickup as well. And now we go to one of the, I guess, the few remaining higher picks that we have. It is going to be I don't know if is it Connor L or Con RL, whichever one it is. 1550. Surprised he's made it this far in the draft, and he will be snagged by Team Serene. But over to Deathcloud we go, and it is 5BD for 1470.
Yep, and he will be joining Gary in that CMV range. So good luck, and I hope to see some great competitiveness going on in the preseason to make the end of that roster. But next up, DSQ with pick number 116. And it will be
DSQ. Oh.
Very fresh mint on me, 1440. Do you have something you want to add to that, Hutch?
I don't. I just thought you'd stop talking, to be honest. My bad. But 1440 certainly going to be coming in as one of the lower players there for DSQ. Actually, the lowest one that they have right now. But now over to Sanctuary Veiled, it is going to be Sunburn 2 for 1465.
Yep, indeed it is, and a bit on the lower end, but not quite the bottom. He will be competing with other players for that spot on that roster. But next up, the Voodoo Keeper pick for Unitalk, someone who has also been in the scene for quite a bit now. It's great to see him join a pretty stacked roster. But after that, we are going to have Shadow, and they have pick 119, and they are going to be picking up Arian 03, someone I haven't really known myself. Maybe perhaps looking to add some balance to that roster, some competitiveness going into preseason.
Yeah, competitiveness is always good. Having options is always good, and that's what that pick there from Shadow and yourself is going to be for. But Dexterity is going to be picking up Mix Out 18 for 1465, and it will be him going over to that roster of already 5 players with a pretty sort of mid CMV there. But now we get a little bit of a recap of what we've seen here in round number 6. And, well, get a look at all the picks on your screen. We ask it every single time, Veiled. Anything that maybe stuck out to you from that round?
El Hammer going this late is a bit stand out to me. As I did see him in a tryout and he played really well, so surprised to see him go this late. Maybe he didn't go to tryouts, maybe something else. I am not sure. But we can be moving out to round 7 coming up. And take us away, Hodge.
Yeah, moving in to round 7. It is going to be Berserkers with the first pick of round 7, and it will be Senza for 1530. One of the higher players here in Prospect, but not quite at the peak, but definitely one of the higher ones for sure here. Veiled, going to be in contention for that top spot.
Indeed, he will. And then next up, another shadow pick, and it will be a X Uranus X at 1500. And I'm gonna be honest here. I thought we were moving away from the X's and the start of ended of names, but he's repping the old school gamer tags, and I can respect it. 1500. He's gonna be adding some variation to our team, and Unitox pick number 123, and it will be MF Marco at 1465.
Yeah, MF Marco 1465 for Unitox, going to slot in very nicely there. I have to ask Mal quickly, how am I the 5th best draft hoster? There's only 4 draft hosts in total. But over to Sistema Solaris, it is going to be Hakanakar. I've done the best I can with that one for 1490, and a little bit of a mid-value pick over to Sistema Solaris, but one of the higher ones. I guess it's still quite mid, considering what they've selected so far. Excuse me, but over to DSQ, it is going to be Zolab BC, whatever you want to say it, for 1465.
1465 indeed, and I never thought I would hear you say those 3 letters, but you did indeed, and now we do have DevCloud with pick number 126, and it will be Vampire Squid at 1430. Quite an interesting addition to this roster, as they look to be making an impression in preseason with quite a variation of teams here, Hodge.
Yeah, quite a variation of teams indeed. And over to Team Serene, we go with FlexorMind Z97. We've got there in the end. 1485, another sort of mid pickup there for Team Serene, but certainly, hopefully, going to be a good one for them. Over to Nate we go, though, and it's Space Golem for 1530.
Indeed it is. And I'm sure he'll make a good impression on that team. But we do have Sanctuary. They have pick number 129. And it will be Peep, 1540. I gotta ask why he didn't get picked up by us. I honestly don't know. But he will be picked up by Sanctuary, where he'll join quite a nice roster of players here, Hodge.
Definitely. And now on to Aspire we go for their last pick of prospect. It will be River Risks for 1530 here, Veiled, and already joining alongside the stacked Aspire roster that we already have besides Mal. But we will now jump into the final 2 picks of the draft with Brave.
Yep, and first up we have Rex at 1550, quite a high CMV player being picked up here, the highest of the team so far. So it's going to be interesting to see if he makes the cut or if they're going to choose a more well-rounded team. But before that, we do have KDJ, and they have picked 132, and it will be show_Ali123 at 1530.
Yeah, one of the higher picks here of their, I guess, selection. So going to be in competition for that top spot with Nama and Steph. So we'll see how that goes for him over in the preseason. But that is our prospect draft wrapped up here, and that leaves one more remaining with Academy. But a little bit of a summary here of the final few that were selected from prospect. And well, Veiled, it's interesting to see once again the theme of a lot of these higher players going towards the end of the draft.
Yeah, I think with the introduction of the 6th tier, the team boundaries have gotten quite interesting at it. It might be showing that more well-rounded teams is more favored than getting a very high player and having to balance it out with a very low player as well. I'm not too shocked by seeing that change, but it is going to be interesting to see if any team opts to go for that less well-rounded and more top and bottom heavy team going into the season.
Yeah, I guess it sort of depends on how much of a good value min player can you find, right? And a lot of teams just playing the safe game, playing the safe option, going for a well-balanced team. And you said that was that sounds like a pretty good thing to do. So it sounds like I've done something right so far this season. But we'll find out how all the other Academy teams have done, and how I have as well with mine, with who we're going to get over in the Academy division. We're going to come back after a short break, and we'll have our final round of, I guess, the final tier of drafts here in day number 2, and we can finalize everyone's teams for RSC16.
Indeed. And yep, once again, our sponsors are on screen. I mentioned them earlier.
Oh,
Let
yeah.
me do it again. Better Studios, SpartanWare, LTXAcademy, and if you're using the Rocket League shop, use code RSC-EU. And we also have on SpartanWare our own custom kits that I don't know if Mel is representing it
This is
today,
Mel's
but
time.
yesterday he was on stream
He
showing
is.
himself off in the RSC kit.
Come on, Mal. Come on. There we go.
is.
He's had to get off Instagram Reels there for a second, but Mal has joined us. Mal is our model, official model of RSC SpartanWare gear, and if you want to look like Mal, then go and pick up some RSC merch. But but now it is officially time to send it to a break, and when we come back, it will be Academy with the final tier and final day, final rounds of action here for the RSC16.
No, I'm not giving in.
I don't know why you left me bleeding. With a broken heart, tell me if I deserve this feeling. I thought that you know that we had something special till you end up all this way. Please tell me why you left me bleeding. With a broken heart, tell me why I deserve this feeling. I thought that you loved me, I thought that you need me till you end up all this way. Have you forgot all the moments when we had was so true? This world was made for two. I did it all. I'm the storm that meets the moon. I'm the sun that will not move. Do you think you are? Do you think you
Welcome everybody there. I forgot the light change. We got there in the end. To RSC16's final I guess, tier draft of the night. It is going to be the Academy division, and it is going to be absolute cinema, just like it was yesterday with day one. And you've had to get two Academy players here to cover it. Hodge and myself joined alongside Veiled to take you through the final segment of the draft stream. And Veiled, I cannot wait to see one, the drafts and where people go to with this, but also the reactions that we're going to get afterwards, and how much the academics is going to blow up.
Yep, indeed. That is going to be very interesting to see. I also want to see how Aspire chooses to build around the team they drafted yesterday. It was perhaps one of the most hot topics, but they do have some very interesting options they could go for here today. And yeah, I'm very excited to see how that goes. But without further ado, let's get right into the draft. What everyone has been waiting for, the Academy draft. Let's get it underway, and the first pick will go to KDJ, who also had the last pick, and it will be Envy, also known as Raul Toxi in-game at 1250. And a nice pick for him. He's going to be competing with Mudjug for that roster spot here.
Yep, and Envy, a player I rated really highly in the tryouts. I did play with him. Really nice to play with, and a good pickup there for KDJ. But now Aspire, who have they gone for? And it is going to be Masters for 1405, one of the higher picks in the Academy division. And I'm sure if you look at the team on the left there, he will be absolutely thrilled.
Yep, I'm sure he will. Some good players on that team already. Dexterity, though, they will be picking up Lemon at 1225. And he's going to be the second lowest player on this team. Some great variation showing in this team. They could opt to get a high player here and maybe experiment with that team, as well as what they already have going. But before then, we do have Fork, and they will be picking up Kobe.vdb at 1200.
Yeah, Kobe VDB for 1200. Another min pick coming through here in Academy, and it will be him going over to Forg. Direct competition going to be DGT, but now over to 20R we go, and Tiger Shark 1026, excuse me, for 1395 CMV. A good pickup there for 20R, and one of the, I'd say, the higher picks for sure here. Veiled, going to be fighting for that top spot.
Indeed he is. And then now we do have Illusory picking up Clover at 1225. And he is going to be a low player on this team for sure. He is going to be thrilled to see not much competition going on already for that spot. But next up we do have Neat with pick number 87. And it is going to be David for real, I think. Or David DFR at 1200.
Well, David versus Goliath is going to be him versus Crocodile, I guess. And Crocodile sounds like a very Goliath sort of name. We'll see how that matchup goes in in their preseason. But for now, we are moving on to Team Berserkers with Bassi for 1270. A lovely sort of mid pickup there in terms of the CMV. But over towards Team Berserkers, he will go and slot in very nicely there. And Team Berserkers, well, they always put their picks together, so they're going to get another one. And it seems to be ZyQ RL for 1240 here, Veiled.
Yep, someone I actually had in my sights for a possible experimentation for my roster. Nice to see him go, but the wrong franchise here. But that is what it is. But Vice, keeper pick for Team Serene, will be coming in at 1200.
He will. Vice, that player for Team Serene, that AGM for Team Serene, he's going to be their keeper pick, and he is going to be joining an incredible team already. But over towards DSQ we go. It's Duality for 1350, and certainly one of, I guess, the sort of mid to high range picks, around that mid range. But it is going to be him going over to DSQ in direct competition with Endrick.
Indeed it will. And now Azteca picking up Torga, someone who's been in the league for quite a while, always been a solid pick for his value. 1265, he'll be fitting in nicely on that roster, together with Righty, Hellpolar and Mistrek.
Yeah, definitely. Over to the 93rd pick of the draft here. It will be Andre for 1385, going over to Sanctuary and filling in a slot that hasn't been taken by anyone on that team so far, which is the highest pick so far. So Sanctuary really building their team around a mid roster so far. But I'm surprised that Vibs got this far, Veiled, to be honest with you, and he will be picked up by Brave.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be gone by round 2, but nonetheless, he has moved on to round 5, where he'll be picked up by Brave, and I'm sure that he's gonna fit in quite nicely on that roster. Now Azteca picking up 3 in a row.co.uk at 1270, and he will be joining his teammates there, maybe competing with Torga for that spot, who I just mentioned previously.
Well, we'll see. The funny thing is that made me laugh with his name is when it was inputted on the sheet on the website. It literally has a website link there. So no one clicked that. But over towards the next pick to go into Alpha Surge, it will be Harry Lord for 1200. Another min pick coming through, and the first one here for Alpha Surge.
Indeed it will, and our momentum, picking up the momentum in this draft, and it is Alud WO at 1200 being added to this roster, where he'll be fighting with Crazy Minion for that sub spot.
Yep, it will be him fighting with Crazy Minion, like you say. But now we go on to Death Cloud, and it will be their keeper pick of my GM, Space Crisp. Love the guy, and he's going to be our keeper pick here for round 5. But now we are going to move in to pick number 99, and the penultimate pick of round 5. It is going to be Owls Esports with it doesn't say keeper pick, but it is their keeper pick. It is Samuel Horsfield for 1200.
Indeed it is, and he's gonna be alongside Maurice and Doomhammer at that minimum CMV spot. And next up, the last pick of this round, it will be Systema Solaris, and they will be picking up Yannick, another keeper pick coming in at 1200, where he doesn't really have any competition for that spot right now, and I'm sure that he might keep it that way.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But here's a bit of a recap of the draft so far, and have a look at where everyone is. I think there's, to be honest, not really many surprises here for me. The one thing I was surprised about, which I mentioned earlier, was Vibs going this late into the draft. I think a lot of people had him going in the first round, and like you say, you expected him to be gone by round 2 there. So interesting, he's made it this far, but Brave gonna get a nice pick up there. Over to round 6 we go though, and we're going to be starting things with Dexterity.
Indeed they are. As we get the last pick of the last round here, Yannick on screen. Moving on, we do have Dexterity with the first pick of round 6, and it will be Brady at 1290. I'm actually surprised to see him go this late, although he might have some reputation, but I am surprised. He is a good player for his value. I'm sure that they will be thrilled that they were able to pick him up in the end. And now moving on, Brave with the second pick of the 6th round, it is Pulse Lux at 1270.
Yeah, the young player who's in for his second season now, Pulse Lux. I believe it's a second season at least. You'll probably correct me if I'm wrong with that. But 1270 going over to Brave. A great pickup there for Brave. Now it is going to be Momentum, and they've gone for Pure Skill. The I guess one of the only players who was left as the max CMV going to be picked up there by Momentum.
Yep, indeed. And then next up we do have Unitox, and they will be picking up Zombie Light 11 at 1350, where he'll be competing with Maxi for that spot on that roster, it looks like. And next up we do have Berserkers, and I'm interested to see who they pick up here as we go into the 5th pick, and it will be Roxy at 1245.
Yeah, it will be Roxy 1245, like you say there, Veiled, slotting in very nicely and going to be in direct competition with players like Banja, players like ZYQ. There's a lot of competition around that for that sort of third slash sub spot like we've just seen there. But over to Shadow, it is going to be, I'm assuming that's Vortex.
I think so, and from what I've seen, he's quite promising. He could be an addition to this team. Yes, I'm not too unhappy with that pickup. And now Ryu6903 at 1220 will be added to the Illusory roster.
will be added to the illusory roster, like you say. Another lower pick coming through here, likely for that sub spot if he is to get chosen, and will have some good competition down there. But Sistema Solaris now making their next selection, and it will be Moraconda for 1250.
Yeah, and it is a name I've heard around for quite a while, but never really able to put a voice to that name. But nonetheless, we will be moving on to Azteca, and they are going to be picking up Killer 86, I'm assuming it is, at 1350, and he'll be competing with Mistrak and Hill for a possible spot on that roster, and I'm sure he'll be thrilled to go to Azteca. Next up, we do have DSQ though, and they will be picking up, drumroll, if Eviol Lights at 1320. That is a tongue twister and a half.
Well, it's definitely a good pickup. I've seen him around the scene before, and certainly a good pickup. But now moving on to Team Serene, as we get to see who they've picked up next, and it will be, as it loads on, TTV Zadex. Now, a Min player who I actually know very well, goes to my college, and no bias, but he's coming in quite unknown first season, but I think he's pretty good, and I think he'll be quite good value.
Yep, and then Cass being added onto that Alpha Search roster. Looking to add some more variation, get some more possible combinations on the team, and I'm sure he will fit in very well there. And next up, we do have DevCloud, your team, and they are going to be looking to add King NBL, a 1360 rated, to that list of players.
Yeah, they definitely are. 1360 going to be a great pickup there for DeathCloud, and one that's certainly going to contend for one of those main roster spots. But now over to Nate, we are going to go and we'll see who they have gone for with their selection here in round 6. It is going to be NT, and well, let's hope that's not what he's going to be saying at the end of preseason as he goes in to Nate for 1350.
Indeed, and next up we do have Sanctuary, and they're going to have the 15th pick of this round, and looking to add to that team of known players is going to be Misty Dragon, playing from the SSA region at 1310, and I'm sure he'll be thrilled to be on the Sanctuary franchise.
Yeah, for sure. We are going to be moving on though to see who the next pick is for 20R. Who have they selected? It's Mr. Deep Sound, a Min player here, coming into 20R, and going to have some great competition in Mimi King and Gingenut, excuse me. And there's a lot of Mins on that roster, Vale. It's going to be quite competitive at 20R.
Yep, indeed it is. They're looking to get the best of the best for that position. Next up, Shift Drink will be joining Forge, where he will be competing with seemingly Belinda for a place on that roster. And the names I'm seeing is not bad on this roster, so keep an eye on for that going into the season. Next up, Owls, with pick number 18 of the round. It will be Source at 1405.
Yep, Source 1405 getting picked up here, and former producer of RSC streams, now just playing, but certainly putting in the work on the pitch. We'll see though. But now, I told E-Tree Kid in the VC that he's here for a good time, not a long time, and the pick will be confirmed. E-Tree Kid to Aspire, 1400 pick, one of the higher picks here in Academy, and he will be going pretty late into the draft in round 6.
Indeed he will. And then KDJ picking up John Harbill at 1285. I'm quite surprised this player has gone this late though. From what I've seen, he's a pretty solid player. He plays some good frees, and yeah, I'm sure he'll fit in very well on this team. And what a catch from KDJ being able to pick him up this late into the draft. And that will round out our round 6 draft of Academy. And any surprises to you here, Hodge?
I think, not a surprise for me, but Yitri Kid told me he was expecting himself to go at the end of round 1, so nice to see that ego get sort of shattered a little bit and, brought down a level. But over towards round 7 we'll go, as I don't think there's very many other surprises other than that. And now we'll be jumping in with KDJ with their first pick of round 7, and we're just getting a bit of a recap of the last pick of round 6 before we move on. It is going to be Bobo Baldy for 1200, another min pick here in the Academy division.
Indeed it is. And next up, Aspire. Who are they going to be looking to add to this legendary roster of players? I am quite thrilled to see who it's going to be. And it is going to be Pendaman Ken at 1365. Looking to add some more mid-round pick in this roster. Not quite at the top, not quite at the bottom like we've seen him do so far. And I'm sure he'll be thrilled to join Aspire.
Definitely. Moving on to Dexterity. Who's going there? It is Daz Bro T, I'm going to go with, or Daz BRQT, whatever, however you want to say it. The last player who was max CMV, and it will be him going over to Dexterity. So good pick up there for Dexterity. Forg have the next pick.
Yep, and it will be hard B player 15, sorry. And he will be very thrilled to join that team. They're keeping their options open for potential combinations of players, and I'm sure that he will be play a vital role in the testing in preseason. And 20R now, they're going to be picking up Tino, 14-15. And honestly, Hodge, I'm very shocked to see him go this late, because I saw this guy play, and he played some very good Rocket League. Maybe he hasn't gone to tryouts, who knows? But he's going to be going as 5th pick in round 7, Hodge.
Yeah, 5th pick in round 7, and now over to Dexterity. They get another pick here of the litter, and it will be J by T for 1400. Another sort of higher pickup here for them, and Dexterity really stacking up a strong roster. But now over to Nate we will go, and it will be Cotelli for 1200 here, Veiled. Another min player coming through. But you've got to have those min players, and he will be in direct competition with 2 other players for that slot.
Yeah, indeed he will, and it's going to be interesting to see who makes the cut at the end of the day. But we do have System of Solaris with the 8th pick of round 7, and it will be McMain, 1-2-3 at 1200. And I'm almost certain that he is the lowest peak player, and he's going to be thrilled not being the last player picked, which means he might be worth more than his value, Hodge.
You might well be, but now we move on to the next pick here for Deathclad. It will be Mike7675 for 1200, another min player, and a lovely slotting in there to the already existing competition that we have against Space Crisp. Will the competition grow is the question, but let's see. Serene, they've picked up Mayro, another min player, and we've got a lot of min players here in Academy Veiled, so no surprise to see that a couple are getting picked up at the final end of the draft.
Yeah, all the teams just looking to add some options for the low player on their teams. As IC Reset continues the trend of 1200s being picked up, he will go to DSQ, and I'm sure he'll have a good stay there. But next up, we do have Azteca coming in.
Yep, we absolutely do. Azteca going to be coming in with Axolotl as another min player getting picked up. 1200, like we say, and well, has the competition of Polar to get through for that main roster slot.
Indeed he will. And now DevCloud, your franchise, looking to get another pick, and it will be Half-Blood Viking at 1200. And he will be thrilled to be joining your franchise and try and compete with Yannick and McMain for that sub spot.
I'm not on System of Solaris.
Oh yeah, I saw DevCloud in the bottom, and I jumped
My franchise
the gun,
is coming
here
up
it
there.
is. Here it is.
There we go.
Hodge.
It is Black Orca for 1200, who is going to join the, I guess, battle royale of min players on Deathcloud at this point. We'll see how things are going to fare for him, but hopefully a lovely addition to the squad. And now, you know, we've talked about my franchise. Over to yours, Veiled.
Yeah, and it will be Sia JD at 1200. And I'm certain that he will be good competition for Dirty Dwarf for that last spot on that team. And moving on, we do have Alpha Search with the 136th pick. And it will be It's Keek 1200. I hope I pronounced that right. If not, make sure to flame me in general chat in the RSC Discord. But I'm sure he'll be happy to go to Alpha Search.
Yeah, definitely. Next pick coming up, though, it is going to be Unitox, and it is going to be Bogdan Gab for 1200, another min player coming through, and another selection here for Unitox.
Indeed it will. And now Momentum coming in with the 138th pick. And we're getting a bit of a drum roll here. And it will be Matej Post 1 at 1200. This trend seems to keep going, Hutch.
Yeah, the final 2 players though left of the draft, and the next one, the penultimate pick here from Brave, is gonna be. We're going hard on the drum rolls here, but it is going to be Casbeats for 1200, and I think I know what that means, which is coming up as someone who knows the final player a little bit all too well here. And I've not heard his name called yet, which means that the final pick of the draft in RSC16 is going to be my brother, Elias, for 1200. So he's going to be getting picked up onto Sanctuary Veiled, and yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm gonna see if I can get his live reaction here. Let's see if I can get him to come through and see what he thinks.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Sanctuary. What we feeling? Sanctuary.
I am happy with it.
You're happy?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
How do you feel that you've been last picked?
I mean, I only did one trial, so last pick Larry. Kind of expected it. So
yeah, you did what one tryout, and
One
you
tryout.
got an offer for a private tryout, so we're feeling
Yeah.
pretty good. All right then. Well, thanks for joining us. He's feeling pretty good about the season, and no, I can confirm he is last because we don't have a round 8 pick. So that is the last pick on the draft sheet. It is going to be only 140 players. There is no final player that a lot of people seem to be thinking of. So that is going to be it for our draft, and that is going to be our academy draft wrapped up. So yes, we'll get a look at all the players here that have been drafted in round 7 and see everyone here. And I think it's fair to say a lot of 1200 picks here veiled, but kind of expected given how many there was in Prospect.
Indeed it is. Not really
Academy.
expected. I think we had 42 players at Min SimV, so there are always going to be a lot left out in the end. But nonetheless, I hope that everyone is happy with their teams. I'm sure that they're going to be looking to make an impression to stay on that team once preseason ends and we move into the regular season. But Hutch, do you want to talk about anything on screen right now?
I don't. Actually, no, I do. You reminded me from Prospect. Obviously, thank you to all our sponsors: Badass Studios, SpartanWare being the official merch provider, and LTXAcademy. They do wonderful coaching over there. If you're buying anything from the Epic Games shop, please make sure to put in the code RSC-EU, well, that will greatly help the league out. But one final time, I'll give him the spotlight. He got drafted into Aspire, and our official merch model of the RSC. If you want to go and buy any merch and look like Mal, then you see, look at that amazing jumper that he's wearing there. If you want to own one of your own, then go to the shop and buy some merch there. And Mal, we do appreciate you being our model here for the merch, and we also appreciate you being our producer for the stream. And before we end things off, guys, it's been a great draft stream across all the tiers. Can we get a W, Mal, in the chat just for all the producing that he's done? It's not been an easy task for him, and things have gone wrong, definitely, if you watched yesterday. So W, Mal, for putting up with it, and not not crying and going to bed just yet. But yeah, that's going to be it, I think, for everything veiled. So unless you've got anything to say, I think it's time we send things off and get the preseason underway next week.
I don't really have anything to add. I already said I hope everyone gets a good season. I'm looking forward to getting it started.
All right then. Well, with that said and done, hope everyone is going to be happy with the teams they've been drafted to, and well, good luck to everyone in the preseason to try and make it to that main roster. We'll see you all very, very soon when we begin league play with the regular and normal streams. But until then, it's been absolutely wonderful. I've been Hodge. This has been Veiled alongside me. Thank you to Kingsman and Rhino for co-hosting, I guess, the draft stream with us, and Mal on production once again. We'll see you all very shortly. Have a great night.